Before we start looking at Gears of War, I want to start off by kicking Halo 5 in the bollocks one more time, because you want to know how long it took before I could start getting into Gears of War's campaign when I put the disc in. An hour. It took 2 hours to completely install, and that's still bad, but not as completely and unflinchingly atrocious as what 343 did to have it run on the X-Bone. Anyway, it feels odd that of all the things getting remastered, it would be the progenitor of the cover-shooting single-objective game starting man-car hybrids. Then again, Last of Us got a remaster 4 years after its release, so let's see if 9 years senior the game has some more legs to stand on. Well, it did add some deleted scenes from the PC version, and playing through that chapter made me glad as the first monkey on the moon that I didn't pick the game for Windows version to play, because the deleted chapter was remastered from the original code, and by that I mean it's as buggy as a honeypot sitting in a rainforest. I mean, just before I fought the Brumac, I saw an entire building disappear into the ether. Thankfully it didn't break the game, but damn guys, was this unsalvageable in Unreal Engine or something? Beyond that, nothing's changed from the original. The plot's still the same single objective model that modern shooters seem to churn out like a hotel's waffle maker. The cogs are trying to destroy the entire locust species by planting a bomb in their tunnel systems, of which the surface has no defense against, and the ones that do have to do it are 4 different characters who only aspire to be sarcastic, uncooperative, and finally have their supernatural gritty voice showdown. The Coalition bothered to keep in the fact that Marcus has a tragic backstory relating to his previous time in the military and something called E-Day to justify the post-apocalyptic setting, and there's this shit called emulsion, that's this yellow glowy stuff. That's the most valuable thing in the universe, yet with all these details in the setting and the plotting, they still don't bother to explain anything. It's the dumbest sequel idea I've ever seen, because all you did was build the first game with no context just to fill in the blanks later as a justification. The only reason we have for why the locusts are bad people is that they shot at us first. I don't even know who these jagoffs are. Are they aliens? Are they mutated humans? Are they Resident Evil experiments? I guess the audience just doesn't have the privilege to know. While the plot's a pile of what-ifs, the gameplay is par for the course with the game that purely invented cover-based shooting. You shoot at the bad guys and they usually fall down afterwards. The usual enemies take a bit of leaning to get those kills, but Gears of War shows how to have that and still make the game work by giving each gun 600 bullets. I kind of wish that Epic Games would have originally made the Lancer have infinite ammo, since it has the chainsaw bayonet specific mechanic, and it's the icon of the series, but I suppose that would have had practical problems, just like getting crowbarred in the knee would give you a practical problem with driving. I actually kind of like that the game doesn't require you to use that ridiculous Velcro cover mechanic that made Gears of War infamous, but all you need to do is get a sturdy column between you and the bad guys and you're golden. And with some varied gimmicks, Gears of War's play is at least decent in spite of being dull corridor shooting most of the time. Objectively, I should hate this game. It's a substandard military shooter filled with one-dimensional characters all trying to out-gritty voice each other so hard they're shoving their throats down each other's skulls in a location that doesn't explain itself, period, and missing the point completely of having a game start in medias res. Yet, I can't bring myself to hate it. It's like this. Halo 5 didn't work for me because it's like having the Master Sword all the way at the end of the game and filling time with just having Dark Link appear all the time and slowing down the plot to the point of exhausting the player with stupidity, and Gears of War is replacing that with having Link collect Master Sword pieces after dealing with Dark Link every time he has to pick one up. Halo 5 had its one goal never changed throughout the whole game, and Gears of War had the mission developed through its cutscenes, and that made it interesting to see that the Resonator didn't actually work after 3 missions to actually go find it. Gears of War is weird because it has this energy throughout it that somehow doesn't make it boring. It could be from having varied shootout locations, frequent allied dialogue, and a plot that actually develops throughout the game, and ultimately being enough of a game throughout its dull 5 hours to make the experience not shitty. Hell no, I wouldn't play it again, but I'd recommend it if you find it on the cheap and enjoy the spectacle of watching grizzled veterans harass the homeless. Next week we'll be taking a look at Gears of War 2 and hoping that Epic Games decides to explain why E-Day was important, but until then I'll finish with my final scoreboard. And say to you all, a genuine victory for gamers.